food money in college, and I used that for some of that. And Al from SSD helped get us organized on that. And it was all just, I think the ethic was to realize that we were on our own. And I think those lessons stayed with me my whole life. You know, like, I'm not afraid to try and do stuff on my own because I did it when I was 18, and you know, I can probably try and do it again now. You know, it was almost an innocence and an ignorance, but it was a beautiful, joyous, blissful ignorance. You know, because there wasn't any mountain we thought we couldn't climb. We just needed to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, and showing before promoting these concerts, I had never promoted a concert. I didn't even know what the fuck that was going on. You know, I did 20 of them. You know what I'm saying, and you know, it's just you know, Jack Rabbit started a fanzine. You know, like everybody just did their thing. You know, you just felt compelled to participate, and it wasn't like rock before, where there was a separation between, you know, the genius on stage and people paying, you know, money to stand in the crowd. It really was bringing it together. And so I kind of showed this Brian Walsby picture from the cover of the 7 Seconds record. You know, just kind of showing this is like a different kind of rock. This is not like Led Zeppelin. You know, this was like the step after it.
I just want to say that there was such horrible obstacle. I mean, like when you showed with the cops. I mean, it was a war, and like you were saying that now punk is, you know, when you see it, you have to remember that all you had to wear was combat boots, jeans, straight leg jeans with maybe a little 1/4-inch cuff, and a pea coat, and maybe a spike bracelet or something, and that was enough to get your ass kicked. And you had such phenomenal, insurmountable enemies. It seemed like the whole police force, right? That the idea of putting out a record or doing things that it was, well, I Just Survived a Night where the whole police force were out to put everyone down. I mean, it was...
Yeah, it's kind of unfathomable. Unfathomable? Yeah, something like that. I have a question, and it relates to some of the questions we're going to have here, and I answer the question sometime, and people get very upset with my answer, so I'm going to ask Laura this question to talk about the role and the place, position of women in early 80s hardcore.
Yes. What would you like to ask? What role?
Well, I was going to say, because you know, I think the thing we've all talked about is that it was kind of like an exclusion on a little level where women could, you know, do the fanzine or be the manager, or, you know, but somehow that kind of developed into this whole women in rock riot girl thing we have today, because it was, you know, Kira, Black Flag, you know, and Fright Wig, and Courtney Love, you know, even, you know, yes, Vice Squad, you know, all these bands. There's like, you know, it was like a tough road, you know, but I think it accomplished that. But it wasn't like that at first. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It definitely was like the lie agreed upon. It was all men created equal except if you're black. So it was very frustrating to me to hear like, oh yeah, kids can do it. We can do anything except if you're a girl. And it was, you know, when it was small, girls could slam dance, but that ended very quickly. And guys would bash girls in the face, and it got really, really rough. And it was very clear, girls were meant to be girlfriends, and it was really a boys' bonding club. And girls could you could be the journalist, you could be the girlfriend, you could be the roadie sort of thing. But and then the whole discord, you know, the whole straight edge. What was Don't Fuck? What was that about? Come on, guys, we know what that was about, you know? And girls were not welcome. Discord House had no girls welcome. Okay, no girls on Discord House. And for me, it was phenomenally frustrating because straight edge saved me and made not using drugs cool. But I didn't understand, why was it not feeling like I was welcome? I just didn't get what was going on. And I really think that it took enough, it was like other waves coming of women saying, we are here, we are here, we are here, like Horton Hears a Who, we will be fucking heard on our own terms. We have to create our own club. We are not welcome here. And I think it's very interesting if you look at the book. There is this silence. There is this silence of where are the women there? Where are the girls? They were there. They were wearing the right outfits, and you can't go talking such shit about if you were an ugly girl, and you're a hardcore ugly girl. And it was a point of wounding. It definitely informed my later creative choices.
Yeah, we're showing some women outside a show at CBGB's matinee. I wanted to show that. That's like a new wave girls, right? This is the difference, right? This is like a different kind of breed. Yeah, respect to all these girls for being out there, It was like, but this is like this is really where it starts.
I just want to give a total defense for my boys in D.C. Discord House was actually one of the most inclusive places in the entire country. Really it was. Ian Mackay is a gentleman and just a really good egg, and he's done a ton of stuff to promote equality, and I would hate to have his reputation sullied. And I know you didn't mean to, but I was there, and Amy Pickering and Cynthia Connolly, and there were tons of other girls who were part of the DC punk scene, and they were vital parts of it. And I never personally saw any bad sort of discriminatory things there. I just wanted to make it clear that I think Discord has done a ton of really, really good things, not only for punk rock and hardcore, but for the country as a whole, because they threw a lot of stones into the pond of society, and those ripples have continued for a lot of kids who got their ethos and their ethics from Discord records. So I really just, I'm not trying to disagree with you, but I am respectfully disagreeing with you about Discord records.
Yeah. I wanted to talk a little about straight edge too. In fact, I have this guy on. This is you, right? With the X's on the hand. Tell us what it's all about. Tell us what you're talking. What's going on in Dave Smalley's mind back in these early days.
Frenzy and fury. Looking like an angry 5-year-old. I think for us again, it was sort of that reaction against what had come before, and the whole drug thing. I remember I lived in France. My dad got stationed in France in 7th and 8th grade. And when I came back, all my best buddies from elementary school had become total stoners, and they were smoking before school, at lunch, if they could get away with it, right after school. And some guys that I really, really, Jamie, Bill, all these guys, and they had suddenly become stoners and waste cases, and I saw that, and I was like, man, these guys were bright, vibrant, funny kids, and then now they were just, getting stoned all the time, and I just didn't want that, and I sort of, the whole thing about do-it-yourself and fighting against the norms of society, well, the norms of rock at that point were, get wasted, get fucked up, and trying that whole don't fuck thing, that came about because that was another quote-unquote objective of some of the people in rock and roll was, go get a girl, or if a girl, go get a guy and have sex, and that somehow is part of rock and roll, and I guess to some people it is, but the whole reaction against that was to say, I don't need to do that. And the other thing I really realized very quickly was seeing how people who had taken so many drugs and done so much stuff that their potential dropped, and you could see it. It was like a chart, and I'm sure, one of my daughters could do it on a really cool, thing now on the computer, and they'd have to show me how to do it. It'd take them like 3 hours, but they the drug thing, we all were reacting against that because we all had seen either people die or people totally lose their potential from doing too much alcohol and drugs. And so the reaction to that was, I'm going to have a straight edge. I'm going to have the edge, and I'm going to push myself to the limits. And I can't push myself to the limits if I'm going to, smoke a big fatty before I go on stage. It's not going to be, I can't be at my peak, And so a lot of us had this reaction against what we'd seen before. We saw bad politics, so we reacted against politics. We saw bad rock and roll, so we reacted against that. And we saw bad sort of good potential wasted and lives gone bad, and we reacted against that. It was great.
was a very powerful statement. I mean, now it's kind of a cliche thing, you know, there's like, what's that thing on wrestling, like straight edge society, and like,
yeah, there's a wrestler who's a
morbid, it's like CM Punk. It's rough, you know, this is what it comes to, you know, it's like, you get involved in hardcore, you're down with Minor Threat, you get CM Punk.
Yeah.
You know, it's rough.
Yeah.
It's rough.
He's good friends with Toby from HBO.
Okay.
Yeah, he might be a good guy. I've never met him. I've never met him.
Sure.
And here's the thing, though, about straight edge. You know, we get a lot of grief for it, and I understand that. But Jonathan Anastas from DYS had a great line, and I've stolen it over the years, so I'll give him credit, you know, is that if we even help one kid not go down a really destructive road, then that's fucking great.
Yeah, that's great. That's all I ask.
It's awesome. I also want to talk about the spiritual search that went on here, because we're all kind of like lost souls, you know, and we're kind of like looking for something, and you know, there was all these kind of, you know, we were anti-religion, anti-organized religion, but yet there's this, you know, there's Rastafarianism, there's Krishna, and there's, you know, and there's all different paths that we all take, and we all found our way during that. And similar to the ethical code, I kind of want to talk about that kind of search for a spiritual soul, like within this kind of chaotic, seemingly unorganized scene.
I just remember hearing that. Was it Jimmy or Harley was with the Krishnas? Harley. And we were all just tripping out, and then we heard, you know, there's free food, and I was like, oh, why not, you know. Yeah, it's like everybody, you know, it really was, but free food, you know. Who else was feeding you, you know? Covenant House was there. That was bullshit. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about, it was later that I thought it was really cool how many Jews were in the punk scene. And that was, I'm a Jew, and it was just this very, it made sense as a Jew always to question and to try to understand. And that, isn't Jello, is Jello a Jew?
Jello?
Yeah, Jello a Jew. Oh no, Jello's a Jew.
Well, you could address.
I was going to say that the Krishna thing, if you didn't get what she was saying, it's really accurate and really funny. The Krishnas used to give free food at their temples. And back then, a lot of us spent all of our money either on records or, you know, on, you know, paying money for you know, getting the band to the next show or whatever. So we didn't have any money. So the Krishnas, it was like, you know, this angelic chorus, like free food, you know, and we would all go. But I only went about twice because you had to sit through, at least at the one in Boston that we went to, like 2 hours of discussions and other stuff. So you were absolutely about to pass out from hunger by the time you got there. And then the food was all, you know, vegan and stuff. And, you know, especially in Boston, we kind of prided ourselves on our, you know, we let meat, you know. And we're like, oh, there's some rice and some string beans and stuff in the watery kind of gruel, you know. And for us, we were like, this isn't worth the pain that we have to go through to get the free food. So that's kind of, and another thing, we used to sneak behind the Burger King after it closed, and they would have, you know, whatever they hadn't, you know, whatever they had left on the thing, they would throw it away, so we'd go dumpster diving. And I remember one time, we went after DYS practice, and we said, okay, I think we're going to time it just right. And so we went behind the Burger King near JD First, which is where we had practice, and we started to go toward the dumpster, and all of a sudden all these snowballs came flying out of the dumpster and pelted us, and the FUs had beaten us to it, and they were already there and getting the free Burger King. So.
Those Christians were looking, they were just looking for young recruits.
Well, yeah, but you know what? I remember
brainwash everyone.
Harley and everyone, and you think even Frenchie was there? They started slam dancing in a circle. And they started, like, you know, when they're doing the dance, and they started turning into, like, slam